Hi, Angel. Welcome back to Queen Flow. So I just had this moment. I went out to dinner with a friend. It's Friday. I don't know if you guys like have that moment on Friday. Like I've just been in hyper creation mode behind the scenes. I'm very excited. But I hit that kind of zone. I definitely have one of those brains where it's like, and this is probably because in Hawaii, I was like, okay, no work. I'm just gonna like be in the moment. It was so amazing. I think I'm on my third book. I was just with my family. We were in Kauai. It was so insanely gorgeous. I cannot even tell you. Stayed at the one hotel there, which I cannot wait to go back to. My room just looked out over the mountains and the ocean. Like I saw full rainbows. The island's only 30% inhabited. So like the levels of peace there are just unreal. Thankfully, I've brought back a lot of that frequency with me to New York, and I've felt very grounded and very stable, returning to a very busy season behind the scenes in my company. So, we're getting ready to start a new ad campaign. I'm actually going to start a blog, guys. Like, I've really been thinking a lot about it. There's just so much that, thank God for the podcast. I've just been feeling honestly kind of like, a little limited by social media in my current era, meaning just what I can really say in terms of like picking up the phone and writing a post or sharing stories and things like that. And it's really interesting because I kind of always had like no thoughts about social media. I was like, oh, this is just like a tool that I use to market my business. And I very much still feel that way about it. But it's like I feel myself wanting to have just like deeper conversations, deeper connection. And it's funny because I say this at the same time that we're running ads and I have more coming there and things like that. But the way that I see it is like, okay, cool. That, allows more people to find me, to bring more people into the potent work that I already have. Like I'm very much of the mindset of like, build it once, make money forever. Like I really love that frequency. I think that sometimes we go through different seasons of business and sometimes we're in big creation seasons. And I think sometimes we're in scaling seasons. And when I look at the body of work that I've created I'm in year 6 now, I'm like, okay, this is a very healthy body of work. Not all of it is fully complete. So for example, I still have some modules that I'm going to be teaching inside Enchanted Sales, but there's so much already, and I'm like, I don't need to create like tons and tons and tons of new stuff. Like I'm in a season where I really am enjoying mentoring people and like my clients, and I'm just loving those conversations. And it's like I have such aligned clients in this phase. It's actually like, I don't want to say miraculous, like how could it be? But it just feels so, it's just so grounding to have everyone in your world feel good, even when there's like a large number of humans. In the company, I would say we have there's over 700 active students right now. And I even see like the emails that come through customer service, like my team answers them, but sometimes I just like check out what's going on. I'm like, everyone is just so respectful and so sane and like no one's acting crazy. And like I would say 99% of the time, the people I attract are generally amazing. But you know what? Sometimes there's a wild card. People do weird, leaky shit. And so I'm not saying that none of that has happened. It absolutely has. But in terms of people that are like actively in my world, everyone's amazing. And so it's like, it's also made me, because I will give myself credit for the level of quality of the clients that I attract. It's actually made me desire to connect even more. And I think that like previously desiring to connect more meant like building more things. And I think that was perfect because I had so much coming through me in terms of new things in years prior. And now I look at everything I've created and I'm like, oh my God, like we don't need a million new things. First of all, for the people, I just don't think that clients need 65 more programs it's like we need to master what's already in my extremely powerful and extensive library and like have that mastery and build the foundations and master the foundations. And of course, like there's different levels to the video game on any skill set, no matter whether it be money or content or sales or whatever it is. So there's no such thing as like the mastery has closed, right? But it's all of these different levels because I have been teaching, right, at every new level that I've been learning things and optimizing things and mastering things and then rejiggering them and doing it in a different way. Like I always like teach kind of like as I've journeyed, right? And had clients journey and all the different things. So in a way, the bodies of work are always like a work in motion, or like you go back to things and you're like, oh, I didn't hear that before because I was a different person before. Like even the first time we listen through a program, you're only going to take in like 20% of it, right? If you want mastery, you listen again and again and again. And then what I love right now is like, okay, cool. And I want to bring that mentorship piece where I'm really like supporting my clients with putting everything into motion and building that excellence there and refining and moving. Like it's just been so fun in my spaces where I do have proximity, which is going to be Fempire, the Revolution. And you're able to join Secret Money for your first 7 days free. Try it out, see if you love it. And you're able to cancel anytime within those 7 days if it's not for you. But I would definitely join because during the next 7 days, you're also going to be part of our free hot seat coaching call coming up on the 12th. So I'm so excited about that. And then in Fempire, like it's just been so cool seeing what is happening for my clients. And like they are just taking their businesses to an entirely new level of scalability. Like just mind blowing, building new skill sets. And like one of my clients has a sales page, which she got from one of my templates in Enchanted Sales. Pop in if you haven't already. Is converting at 38%. Industry average is 1 to 2. That's insane. One of my clients just closed a 30K client. Another just closed multiple people into her mastermind and into private. And like her money is increasing, her sustainability is increasing in terms of like in the company and how she produces, and just that vibe of like receiving more from less output. And we always like the sound of that, but there's just it's like, but then how do I do that? How do I bring less to the table, but like more potently and gain greater results? And watching her do that and just like increase her income, and in a way, she was like somewhat newer to selling kind of like more high ticket spaces while also having like programs and memberships and low ticket and just the doing business the way she likes to do business. It's just been so rewarding to be able to help her like step into that where it's like less output, more money, and not less output because it's like, oh my God, I hate all of this, blah, blah, blah. But just from a place of like sometimes when we are in very high levels of output, these very high levels of output are also coming from this place of like scarcity, right? Where it's like, well, if I don't show up more, then like I'm not going to make money. Or, the more I post, well, the more people are going to see me, the more stories I put up, the more engaged they're going to be, the more emails I send, this and this, right? And we very much have money tied to productivity. And that wears out, and it's a great ticket to burnout. And it's just like scarcity drip put in a productivity suit, right? Where when we really want it to be, of course, is like aligned action, but also where what you do just like carries more potency. So you don't have to like do so much and you can receive more. And then that energy that you don't have going into like quote unquote feeding the beast from a place of scarcity allows you to fill up your creativity cup and to just really tune in and like feel your own energy and feel what's coming through you, have the brain power to optimize like the work I've been doing with these women on like sales pages, funnels, like a couple of my clients are stepping into the ad space and just like getting so precise with our thought leadership and our messaging and just all the things that like make the business turn, and taking those things to a new level and just really owning our category and where we sit. Like this is all so fun for me. Like give me a sales page all day long. I love making a sales page juicy and really helping my clients pull out. It's like, okay, there's a million people in the niche. Like, how do we want to like differentiate you in a way that is clear, that is potent, that is powerful, that works? Okay, there's many ways to speak into this topic. How do we want to do it in a way where like people value specifically learning that topic from you, right? And the way that you do what you do. Like these refinements in messaging make all the difference. And then when we can support that, right? Our emails are working, our content is working, our sales pages are working, and you're not needing to rely so heavily on vibes, not because you don't have them, but because you've actually built that really powerful, masterful skill set in business, and then you bring vibes, then you're in a different reality. And I noticed that, as spiritual women, sometimes we're just like, oh my God, strategy, right? Like we kind of have been burned, right? We've been in these containers. Maybe they were too masculine. Like I've definitely attracted clients who were cold DMing and like just doing things that exhausted them. Or, maybe you bought some email funnel template and you're like, holy I would never speak like this. Like, what is this, right? Or your idea of being strategic, right, has basically been sort of like trying to insert yourself into somebody else's way, and then it hasn't worked. And so then you're like, okay, well, I just need to follow my flow. And then when you only follow your flow, your results kind of cap out, right? And the magic has always been, right, being, we want to be refining our energetics and our skill set for business at the same time, or what I like to call our business intelligence, which is essentially our money making mastery. And so what's so powerful about doing this in my world is I am a highly energetically based and like spiritually oriented and awake human who also is very good at business strategy. So what's so cool when you decide to come walk with me is like I am so focused on teaching you. Yes, of course, I'm like, cool, here's what we want to do for the model that you want and the way that you like to do things in your energy, because all my clients are different. All my clients are different. So when I say strategy, I don't mean that like, well, you got to do it exactly like me or I don't know what to tell you, right? I have 15 years of sales and marketing experience before this company. And I just learned so much about sales and marketing in addition to my company experience along the way from, when I was in finance, I had one job in product development, but otherwise I was in sales and marketing, working for a company that was managing trillions of dollars in assets, and then, startup life and like all the different things. And of course, and scaling my own company. And just, I would say that like this space where business meets money is just kind of like my shit. Like I froth it. I'm super interested in it. I'm always learning. I'm always growing. I master one area and then I move to the next. And then I come back to the one I thought I had mastered before and remaster it again. And it's been so cool for me even doing this in this current environment, right? The marketing landscape has changed so much in like the past 2 years. And I think that, people can choose to be like, oh, that feels heavy. I'm like, or it can be like alive and exciting. And for me to, even take my sales pages to a completely new level, not all of them are up to date. We are doing it piece by piece. But by the time this comes out, my new website should have launched and the gold code should be available for purchase. I'm not going to dive too much into that just in case it's not out yet, but look for it. By the time this episode comes out, I wrap some things up with the team, but like my email marketing's at a totally different level, ad copy, like all of these different things. And it's so cool because because marketing and business are always changing, that means I'm always transmitting new things to my clients. Like I said, enchanted sales, like I've been adding so much. There's more to come because it's just like, oh my gosh, as I evolve, I want everything that is new and working going into what I teach, right? And being able to mentor clients to that because, well, I have that, I'm able to see, right? I'm able to see energetically and I'm able to see practically, right? That isn't everybody's skill set or primary skill set. And I know that in business. And so it's like, okay, well, let's take your magic and then let's take what we know really works. Not like, well, there's only one way to write an email funnel. There's only one type of content to create. There's only one way to do this. It's not about that, but it's about alchemizing your magic with what is practical. And I don't mean that in a boring way, but it's like, okay, cool. We want to turn your frequency into form. We want to turn all the magic that's inside of you into a form, right? And that form sells powerfully. And just one of the things that I'm extremely advanced and good at is like helping people who are energetically based translate their work and build their offer suite and scale their company and define their thought leadership and all of the ways that we like show up and market and sell a business. As online service providers, I am extremely well skilled at helping you do that in a way that is going to be aligned for you and then supporting you and evolving that over time. Because there's clients I've had for years where their business models have continued to evolve and grow as they have, right? That's super normal. And so I actually love that evolution. I am not one of those coaches where it's like, well, I only know how to teach you to build a one high ticket offer and sell the hell of that offer. And if you don't want to do that, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that is not how I do things. I just have like so much dimension, as you would see even by what's in my business, right? And I just know for sure that the only ticket to success is a way that is aligned for you. And I see my job as helping you do that as powerfully as possible with the level of as much clarity as possible and in ways that are really going to help you sing and align with your energy so you don't have to spend all this time circling around and stuff that quote unquote works for someone, but is just not going to work for you or doesn't feel good to you, right? So even like my own evolution that I just mentioned previously, right, where I am at present more focused on everything that's been behind the scenes. One, for getting my new website off the ground. I mean, that was a whole huge effort. And then the sales pages that are supporting that. So you will see the gold code, like I said, coming out shortly. I will be selling it. And of course, if you hit one of my ads, check it out. I'm like very proud of it. I have a new sales page for Overflow, which is my premium wealth building program that's like gorgeous. I'm obsessed with it. And I really feel like it does the work justice. It's probably I was getting ready to say my best selling mid-ticket offer, but that's not even true. They kind of all sell equally, but it's like a very loved space in my world. And I'm just going to be refining and refining and refining. Like we created a praise page that I'm just like, oh my God, like the number of women, like when you look at all, I mean, it's not every testimonial that I have, but like all these written testimonials and videos and all these things in one place, you're just like, holy I'm like, I finally feel, you know what it is by having a new site? It's like, I feel like my work is now being properly represented for my current point of evolution where I'm like, I have made an enormous amount of impact. And this, I don't know why people like don't want to have a website and don't have sales pages. Having people be able to just really see the potency, the authority, the breadth and depth of your business and the impact you've been having is huge. And for me, it actually feels more complete to have everything in one place. I had a website before, but like this one is like on my level. Like I evolved, it needed to evolve with me. So anyway, of course, as I have been doing things and seeing success in new areas and like all these different things, I bring that wisdom immediately right into, of course, what I teach in my programs where it applies, and also into my mentorship spaces. And that is what's so cool is I'm like able to support you real time and just help you with shifts that I'm like, oh, this kind of thing is like really popping right now. And it's not just like, oh, a trending reel style on social media, right? But it's like ways that we engage with our clients and in marketing and selling that our work for our current environment, for people's shorter attention span. People are shorter on time and we're in a trust kind of like a trust poor environment. And it's like, okay, cool. We don't want to make that a problem. We more just want to be like, all right, cool. Like, you know, the world is giving people some reasons to be scared. I do not think you should operate under that at all. You are your own economy. You decide everything, period, the end, always and forever. But it's like understanding that general context of the world and people are busy and they're kind of overwhelmed. But at the same time, the industry is bigger than it's ever been before. People are moving money every single day. They just kind of like move money differently. And they want to build a different relationship to us and with us a lot of the time now before moving larger amounts of money. But those amounts of money still move, right? Versus prior years where we know people were at home, it was COVID, and it was just kind of like, oh my God, I'm just going to go so deep in my personal development because there's not a lot to do. And even after, that main COVID era, like then people were kind of had this weird, how it took people a while to start like really traveling again and stuff like that for the whole travel economy to like drastically pick up again. So, that's people are out and about now, right? We're moving around more. We're doing different things. We're kind of like overwhelmed with the media. And it's just an interesting time on the planet. But at the same time, we all want to thrive and we all want to learn. And that's very real. So if we kind of just take like the environment, right, that we're operating in, and then just the way that marketing has evolved and honestly changed in the past 2 years, it's like, cool. So then how can we bridge that with your mastery and your genius to, and this brings me to my main point that I was here to talk about all along, to really put you in a category of one. And the concept of being in a category of one, I guess you could say to some people, maybe it's like, well, how, right? It's like, there's so many of us doing, there's going to be lots of us doing quote unquote similar things. But I really believe that when you are a woman who is intended to be in a category of one, and I don't mean where you're like, oh yeah, I'm here to be famous. But like, if you are, perfect. We love that. But I don't really mean it in that type of way. I more mean it in this way where it's like, you just always feel kind of different. You just always feel kind of different. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure this is you because it's me. And like, I tend to attract people who sort of like see the world similarly to how I do, or are like curious and interested in the way that I see things. It's like, I'll see everyone moving in a certain direction and I'm like, why the are they doing that? like that's going to lead to this, that's going to lead to that, like da 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 da. And then, but it'll feel like, well, I'm like the odd one out because I'm choosing not to do that. It's like everyone's going right and I'm going left. And in my mind, it's like, it's almost like they're seeing to the end of the block and I'm seeing like 3 miles ahead of where they're going. And then, but I look like the weird one because I'm going left. And then I go left and then like I was right. You know what I mean? But I'm not saying that they're not on the path that is for them, but I'm like, oh, that's going to lead, even though everyone's doing that thing, that's going to lead to that. And I don't want that. So since I don't want what's on the other side, at mile 3 or whatever of the walk that they're getting ready to walk, I'm just going to go like take a different direction. But that's going to make me sort of like other, right? I think that we tend to be in this, not tension. I don't mean this in a negative way, but this tension of just like, okay, you love to serve, but you also deeply value your freedom. You want to be highly in demand and you want a free calendar. Like you want everything that you do in your business to have this feel organic, authentic, to feel real. And you also can't imagine being face to camera when you're 65 years old and like always being on Instagram, right? So it's like, but you want that depth in your company. You want to build a scalable brand. Of course, there's like many other ways to handle social media, but I'm not just saying like, oh, well, you'll just hire people to do all the social media. Like you probably want to build like a company that, and that is an answer eventually. It can be, and for many people it's not. It can be. There's so many ways though. There's people who aren't even on social media making millions of dollars a month, right? Like there's not a month, sorry, a year. I'm sure a month as well. But examples I can think of a year, right? But they're just scaling in different ways. Like maybe they're scaling in ads, they're scaling through the blog, they're scaling through the podcast, they're scaling through email, right? That's a totally available option. There's people who are primarily like scaling through social media. There's just so many ways to play it. There's people running their entire business on YouTube. And like sometimes in the coaching industry, I'm like, guys, like open your brain more. Like you don't, and this is one of these things that I feel like makes us category of one women different is like sometimes like just following that party line, even in your own industry where it's like, oh, everybody's supposed to be free. You feel like something feels a little off? Like maybe you're into it for a while. And I think that like there's this thing that happens when we're earlier in business sometimes. And I feel like this was my case in a way. Like I was always moving to the beat of my own drum, but it was very much like, oh, this is how you build an offer. Okay, I'll just do this. Oh, this is how you do this. Okay, I'll just do this. Right. And I would know when stuff wasn't for me. And it was just kind of like, okay, whatever, go, and it worked. And then I feel like there's been other seasons, especially, where it's like we're in positions of leadership and you evolve and it's almost like, okay, cool, take the training wheels off. Now it's time to optimize this and to really make it more you and to find your sweet spot with all these different options. Like, what do you want? Right? Without you spending 100 years being like, oh my God, I have no idea. Right? Because that's not leadership either. So there's just this interesting tension between like, okay, cool. There's things that are tried and true. And then also there's your internal knowing and you've just got to follow your pull. Like I've been less active on social media, whereas previously I would say I was pretty active on social media. And I'll probably be more active on social media again, but my energy has been going into other places, or my energy has been going into email marketing, although I have not, this is like my second episode in a while on the podcast, but we've got plenty of episodes that I've been recording that they have not been released yet. I've been so deep behind the scenes and like, I never spent time, energy in email funnels, but I am now because it just like makes sense for scalability. But for me, when I think email funnel, I am not going to build some like generic email funnel that just makes me want to die when I read it, right? I'm like, no, this has to feel like me. This has to feel true to soul. And so sometimes it will feel like I'm putting in a lot of time into things. Although, anyone who has $1 million funnel will definitely tell you that required work. But I'm like, yeah, but it has to be me. So it's like, I like taking these things in business that quote unquote work, right? And then teaching the psychology around why so that you can then optimize the doing to really like match what's going to work for you and what's going to work for your audience, right? And so I've been pouring more attention into that. And obviously this website was a huge, huge, huge project, but I love it, but huge, right? And so a lot of my analytical decision-making mind, creative brain has been going into building this new site, figuring out the direction that I want to take things. Also just having that come to around not desiring to be as active on social media. Like I didn't really see that coming. And then being like, oh, I want to start a blog. Like, since when? Like, if you asked me 2 years ago if I would ever do ads, I'd be like, no, because when I went at it, a few years ago, my business wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready for it. My offer suite wasn't ready for it. My sales pages weren't ready. All these things that I didn't have the level of expertise that I have now over all of these different pieces that make ads work powerfully, which is going to be your creative, your ad copy, your sales pages, and your email funnels, essentially. And then, of course, having tried and true offers that are going to like potently convert, the positioning on those offers, the way you position yourself, right? Like there's all these different pieces. These pieces also all make your organic efforts much stronger, but sometimes people don't realize that and they just kind of like focus on social media. So if you're already focused on social media and you do all those other things powerfully, like you're going to have a booming business. But my experience has been people very like overly rely on social media and they don't build the other skill sets very well. And then eventually it catches up. Right. And then when you're like, okay, I don't have the energy for so much social media right now, or I just kind of like want something different, you kind of feel like you're not starting over, but it's almost like you don't realize you realize your sales pages, your email marketing, all these different things, your podcast potentially weren't doing as heavy of a lift for you as they could because you were bringing so much energy to social media. And I don't mean to stop, but I'm saying like, let's pay attention to all sides of the business. You're not just running a social media company. It's like if Instagram did not exist, what would we be doing? Right. So we want to, and it's not because it's going to go anywhere. There'll always be social media, but I think that or some form of social media and options for social media, but you get my point, right? So so again, right, in a way, it's like, oh, and even just bring in paid marketing, I'm like, but all it does, even though you have to get all these things done very well, it just brings you more continuous visibility, which allows you not to need to sell on social media so much. But I do think people underestimate what goes into having it like work very well. I'm actually gonna do a whole other podcast episode or conversation on passive income because I think that people don't quite understand like what that means. You don't just like build a product and it like sits there and sells. But anyways, I just have seen people talk about passive income in ways where I'm like, okay, well, that's not like really like how it works. It's a little more like this, but I don't want to sidetrack our conversation. But my point is, you sometimes are going left when other people are going right. And sometimes what you loved before, you no longer love. And you're like, well, I don't get it. Like, there's these other women on the internet who've been in business for like 10 years. They've always run kind of like the same sales system, maybe even selling the same offers, just doing things the same way and not like they're not bored. They love it. You're like, why can't I just be that way? And like, you're just not, right? And maybe like what used to, all these offers you used to have that thrilled you, you're like, no, actually, I just want to like focus on a few. And you're like, well, how the hell do I do that if they're all making me all this money and just like scale these things and scale to the income levels that I want? Or maybe you're like, oh man, I've always done this one thing and now like I'd like to do more things. Or like I never thought I would want a podcast and like now I do. I never thought I'd want a YouTube channel. I'm really feeling called towards video mastery. Like, oh my God, email marketing. I didn't even think that mattered. I didn't even have an email list. Now I'm like, oh wait, like I've always had an email list, but I'm saying you could be having that thought where it's like, well, what the like, wouldn't it make so much of a difference if I'm selling on social media and then I also have mastery over email, right? And so for me, it's always been like I'll have certain areas of where I'm building mastery at a time, right? So right now I'm in my ads, email marketing, sales page season. I've always had highly converting sales pages, but it's different to convert cold traffic. But the cool thing is if you can convert cold traffic, you're sure as shit converting warm traffic, right? But it's different to create the desire for someone to buy in 1 second from seeing you in an ad, although they see them over and over. But you get my point, than it is to convert someone who's been listening to your show for months or on your email list for months, or you were referred by another client, right? There's already that built-in relationship. And so one of the reasons I think paid marketing is like so interesting and it's like a challenge that I find like fun and sexy is I'm like, wow, like how fast can you collapse the time on creating that trust, creating that relationship. And obviously if you do that well, there's no such thing as doing that well and then being organic marketing. Like it's impossible. So that kind of like serves everything. But I think that you have this deeper curiosity to you, right? Where you're just like, oh, I want to be like good at different things. Like I want to be someone who knows how to make money different ways, right? Even within the same company. And So sometimes that means that like you get bored. Sometimes that means when the whole industry is doing one, a few things. So for example, I don't know, like in-person events are huge right now. And I think there's reason for that. And I think that community is really powerful. And I think that connecting in person is really powerful. And I think there's people who absolutely thrive in that environment. And then for me personally, I'm like, that's not where I'd want to put like I would absolutely speak and I love connecting and I love being in person. But in terms of the type of company that I want to scale, that's not where I feel called. I feel called to create it once, make money on it forever, to scalability. It's like my internal system knows. Like I actually read, oh my gosh, I wish I had it for you guys, this quote where it was basically like, when he was talking about companies that start like kind of like floundering, and he was basically like, it's not that like the end, basically the reason that it happens is that the founder runs out of energy. And I was like, this is the truest I have ever heard. Because guys, how does your business go when you start getting bored, tired, and just sort of starting to feel like stressed, where it's like, okay, this used to be fun, but if I have to do this way for the next 5 years, like, I don't know that like I can hang like this, right? Like, I feel, and I'm also going to tell, you guys are in all different ages, but like I'm 42. It's like, I see myself in 10 years having it real chill, but also like, I love being known. Like, who knows? I might write a book. I definitely see myself on some stages, but I just don't want to be like traveling the world on stages like 24/7. You know what I mean? I don't really want to put on like big conferences. Like that's just not my way and not where I desire to expend my energy. And for me personally, like I totally understand how it's a massive sales can be. You got to also be really good at making them profitable, but can be a massive sales engine. The energy is really big. It's like, it can be amazing, but also for me, that's not scalable. And like my internal system knows for wherever I'm going in this current season, it could also just quite frankly be like, oh, for, more space for a romantic relationship, family, all the different, I mean, I've had space for a romantic relationship. Like it's always been like pretty chill in terms of like, I do have room, but I feel like sometimes it's like, when the business can kind of like become the baby in a way. And I don't actually want to have kids, but I was like, oh, but wouldn't it be nice to just like go on vacation for a month? And I really like being off my phone. Go on vacation for a month, not have to pick up my phone and nothing other than like answering my team and stuff and nothing changes. That's the kind of life I want. That's the kind of business that I want. And then come back from that vacation and be like, oh my God. Okay, here's all the things that landed. Here's all the things I contemplated. This is what I'm doing. I come back fully inspired, doing new shit in the business, teaching it, doing all the things, and then being able to dip out. Like I like that level of freedom. So for me, it's really important to build towards that level of freedom. And every way that I've done business before felt like total freedom to me at the time, right? But like we change. And so I can sound different to people who are like, oh my God, like conferences are like where it's at. But I'm like, I don't want anything that like needs me to have to expend like the most amount of energy at all times in order for it to work. I just don't desire that, right? And who knows, I could 2 years from now, I could be like, guys, we are doing the first conference. But intimate in-person event, like, yeah. Or when I sat down to record this podcast, I was like, I just wish they were all in a room and we could just talk. Wouldn't that be amazing? I'm like, I can just like say what I have to say. Everyone can say what they have to say. And then we can get to coaching and mentoring to like next steps and how we're going to do this, which is exactly why you should be in my masterminds because that's where we're able to do it. But I did have this moment where I was like coming into my office to record. And I'm like, it would just be so great if y'all were just here, pull up a chair, have some tea, have some rosé if that's your thing, whatever your thing is, pet little baby Brooklyn, and we can just like have an in-person conversation. I love that shit, right? But it's just like, I know inside myself, it just feels so strong that everything needs to be about that scalability piece in this present moment. And then the contradiction to that, the duality to that, us category of one women, we're always just doing things differently, is it's like that with also deep mentorship and deep support, right? And so I've noticed the more scalable and easeful my company is, the more space I have for supporting my clients and really like bringing it back what I'm like learning, testing, finding out from the field and bringing it into my paid spaces. And so now, for example, I only have 4 calls on the calendar a month. And thank God, because, doing everything that I'm doing behind the scenes has really required a lot of brain power. And then it's so fun because I get to have that mixed with like, okay, cool. Now let me like plug in on my calls for the revolution for Fempire and my Telegram chat for Fempire. Obviously, I'm riffing and teaching into secret money, but that's different because it's not like on the calendar. And then of course, if I have any private clients and things like that, but it's like, I feel so awake. I feel so present inside my work. And when I'm supporting clients, and instead of having that kind of like buzzed feeling when you've like had too many calls or you're kind of overcommitted, you're trying to do all these things behind the scenes. There's like too many clients, which is like a good problem to have. But basically what I'm saying when I say that is like the business isn't fully optimized. And so it just kind of feels like you're getting pulled on in all these different directions. Like the pulled on in different directions, I optimized my business out of that like probably 2 years ago. But it's like I had to consciously do that. And so I have definitely learned to pay attention to where body says like it's time to go next. And sometimes that's going to feel different to like what most people are doing. And especially if you've had success a certain way and now you want to create it a different way, it can kind of feel like, well, are you crazy? Like this is already working. And I'm like, but this is what makes you the category of one human, right? This is what makes you the artist. This is what makes you the creative, is like sometimes like it works. And I'm not talking about like burn it all down and you don't have to take yourself through, a total roller coaster, but it's more just about like, but how does this want to, I really believe that businesses have their own energy. It's like, how does this want to grow? How does this want to evolve? Right. And like just allowing yourself to sit on the throne in this way where it's just like, I am a work of art. I am the embodiment of evolution. And so I'm going to allow my business, my messaging, my offers, and for me, in my case, I'm not like changing my offers, although I do have offers that like I don't run anymore. But I love the product suite that I have. I'm deeply committed to that. Stand by all my work at like 100%, or I wouldn't sell it. Like it's literally that simple. I cannot sell something I am not behind, even through paid marketing. Like it's just absolutely not happening. My body, like my team, whoever is leading me, they don't allow me to do things that don't just like operate from place of truth. Some people seem to be able to push through in that way for a very long time, although I do think it catches up to them in the end. I can't even, that does not work for me. It's like, it's over before we're even out the gates. Like, I'm just like not allowed to lead that way in this lifetime, nor do I desire to, nor does it even like align with like what I teach, where I'm always talking about, no, we're building this true to soul. We're doing relaxed millions. We're doing wealth without the cost. So probably because of my deep commitment to what I teach, to ease, to all the things, is like, well, then you cannot go and create success in ways that aren't aligned with your truth. And like, that's just at the end of the day, that's a fact. And that even comes into, right? This is why I'm always talking about for strategy and content, all these different things that I teach, sales, yada, yada. I'm like, okay, but the whole point is not just like to regurgitate basically, right? It's to optimize you. And so I always view strategy as an optimization and amplification, instead of you've got to follow this checklist. Like you are not a checklist. You are not going to be known for being a checklist, right? But we want to always be getting better at business. One, it makes business easier. Two, it makes business more fun because you're always getting smarter and like executing more efficiently and more potently. And three, because like when you win after you actually challenge yourself forward, like you're building character. You know what I mean? You feel good. And then what is so cool about being the type of human that you are is like you're mixing that with this like deep energetic resonance, and like people feel that when you've got your masculine and your feminine on lock and they're walking powerfully side by side, like you're pretty unstoppable. So if any of this resonates with you, I really suggest coming to join us inside the revolution. We have category of one, the 6-week mastermind, kicking off end of June. I think it's June 24th. It's definitely the end of June. And I'm really excited because it's like, I just want you to bring you and be like, Jocelyn, this is how I feel. This is what I like talking about. This is what's working for me. This is what's not. What do we do? I'm so good with these situations, right? And it's like, oh, let's do this. My brain just thinks this way. And it's very easy for me to see you, Scorpio rising, right? To feel you, to energetically just know. And I've just loved my mentorship lately because I feel like I'm just like boom, 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 boom. Right. And this is what's been happening because I have so much space. Right. And I just love it. I love it for all of us. So category of one, what is the purpose of it? So this is to really anchor you strategically, energetically, in all the ways. To be paid is the only option your luxury clients see. And when people say luxury, I don't mean because they have $1 million and they have to spend $100,000 with you. When I say luxury, I basically essentially mean premium, right? And so what I've noticed in having such aligned clients and versus experiences that I've potentially had in the past or whatever it is, like we've all had our different journeys, is you want people there who it's like they just want to be there. They just want to be there. Like that type of person who's like not thinking about investing in themselves as an expense, right? But they're just like, no, this is actually an investment. This is actually supporting my growth. Like the energy that people have when they're just so all in on themselves, right? And they're like, and I want to do it with you, instead of bringing just kind of like that scarcity and the holding on and just like, oh my God, should I spend this money right now? And like drama, drama, drama. They view it as an expense. I'm like, if someone views their growth as an expense, instead of like an investment, I don't know what to tell you, right? But there's so many people like that and they invest anyway, and you've probably experienced they're quite draining to mentor. Like that's not what you want, right? You don't want people who need convincing. You want people who've already decided that their current reality isn't it, right? Like and a lot of people are marketing to people in a way where they need to be convinced instead of talking to that person who's already decided. The people who are already decided, who are actively looking to invest, when you are speaking to those people, they hear you, right? They hear you, but they miss over you when you're more focused on convincing the ones who don't move or who don't want to move, or they're going to move in a year, or they have you on a vision board, or now is not the right time, or they need to make more money, or whatever other stories they are telling themselves. And if you're telling yourself those stories, well, that's like a whole separate issue, right? Like these aren't people who are ready to actually have things change. Change for them, transformation for them, growth for them is a fantasy. It is a fantasy and is not occurring because they have not decided that they are done with their current reality. Because when you have decided that you are done with your current reality, you make a move, right? You want people who are actively seeking support, who are ready to go. They're not lukewarm. They're not maybe next year. Excuse me, right? They don't have you. They're not like, oh my God, I can't wait to work with you one day. These are people who literally just fantasize about change and don't create it. You don't have time for that. So what I really want to step you into strategically, energetically, through your content, through your sales system, through your offer stack, through how you position your offers, obviously more ease. More ease. Like it is always going to be about more ease, but I want you, it's like to have that certainty within yourself and how it communicates and translates through your content to be like, you are no longer like a consideration. I see people say all the time, like they're a consideration. I'm like, no, you're not being, you want it to be like, no, buying from me is a must. It is a must. And part of that is going to be how you see yourself, how you see your work. But what I've noticed a lot of the time is that comes through much stronger positioning of your offers, much stronger thought leadership around your offers and your brand, and a sales system that really works for you, and an offer stack that really works for you, right? And then you gain that like solidity, and then it's like, okay, boom, right? I know how to throw gasoline on the fire instead of being like, do I have a confidence problem? Like, no, you usually just have like, we've got a business problem in terms of like that, the potency and actually having it translate, but it already lives inside of you. Obviously, we want your sales strategies to feel good, not for you to be doing shit you don't want to do because you think it's required to make money. You don't have to launch 45 more products to double your income. You don't have to start posting on Instagram 3 times a day to double your income. Like there are smart, because for how long can you do that? Like, don't you think you would cap out at a certain point? Like, it's just not a system. Gosh, like evolving my sales system, like I cannot tell you the levels of increased ease that it has brought. It is life-changing. And then you have all this space to create in new ways in your business. Life-giving, right? And you don't just want to be making money, you want to be known. I talk about thought leadership all the time when it comes to content, when it comes to positioning, when it comes to building a brand. If you just want to make a little money on the internet, it can be like, I help people do X, Y, and Z. If you want to be known, if you want to have crazy opportunities coming your way, if you want to be on big shows, you want to be on stages, you want to have an easy time scaling your company in a highly competitive market, we need strong thought leadership so you can be known. And this is what makes it so that you pop and it doesn't take 10 years to get there. The only reason I've been able to be on the size shows that I've had, that I was able to, not the only, but you know what I mean? One of the main reasons that I've been invited on the shows that I've been on, that I've been able to pop in my business so quickly, that I have been able to bring new products to market and sell them. And when I say products, I mean offers, sell them out powerfully, even though technically I don't do one thing. Like everything that I do, of course, is going to lead back to money, but I'm not like, I wouldn't ever call myself like, oh, I'm just a messaging coach. Oh, I'm a sales coach, right? I'm only a money coach. I'm not, right? I teach all of these things and I teach them all well and make a lot of money doing them all. But why? And it's like, because that thought leadership is there, because I've built a brand that is so strong that people will walk with me to teach all of these things. And of course, I only teach things that I have mastery in. And so I don't have to be like, well, I only do this one thing, even though I would say everything leads back to money and money is my main conversation. But if you look at my offer suite, I'm teaching many roads to arrive there because I'm also teaching business. And business is not just money energetics, right? It's like business is sales, it is content, it is offers, it is offer strategy, it is well, I already said sales, right? It is frequency, it is power, and then it's how it evolves every year with you because it's never going to just stay static. So we need strong, and maybe you're someone, I definitely have clients where it's like, I teach one thing and that's fucking perfect. You're going to make more money and be more known and have increased opportunities for scaling your brand when our thought leadership and our potency and our positioning is there. And when we actually have command over all of these different pieces where it's like sales pages, it's the email marketing, it is the content, it is the frequency work, and also it's just becoming a better CEO. Knowing what your company, I mean, this is a huge gap that I see. Knowing what your company needs when it needs it for it to scale with more ease. Who needs to be there, what they need to be doing, what systems you need to have in place, what you don't need to focus on right now. Like, I am always working with this on clients in addition to these other pieces, because you could be the most masterful marketer in the world. If you don't have a company that is set up to grow, like, you're going to have a very hard time growing. You're going to have a very hard time growing. If you don't know what to look for in hiring people, and I don't just mean onto your team, I mean, even if you're hiring different agencies or different like things like that, you are going to waste a lot of money and you are going to be like, what the is going on, and not getting results. So we also have to become better CEOs, and this is so important. Right. And so I want you to be able to also just scale your company from a place of soul, and not where it's like, oh, everybody's doing this, like I got to do that. No performing. You don't have to self-abandon. You don't have to overextend yourself, but you are going to be shown on the internet all day long that you do. And I'm here to say that it is not true. But what we do want is to not just be in this zone of like, oh my God, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. We want it to be like, hey, I'm really passionate about this. I love this, but I really want to feel like me. And I really want to feel like I'm doing this well and building a really strong foundation underneath me. And that as I'm pivoting in these different ways in business, no matter whether it be messaging, your offers, how you're focused, what's going on with team, maybe you're building a team for the first time. Maybe you want to bring in new pieces and you want to know how to do it in a very like effective way. I would say like anytime I brought a new area of focus into my business, it has become successful, right? Because I've been like, hey, well, for this to work, right, we've got to actually strategize it like this. Let's do this. Play to your strengths in this way. If there's weaknesses, which weaknesses do we need to strengthen? Which do we need to hire out? And if we're going to hire out, how do we know enough to be dangerous to make sure we hire the right people, right? Like all of these different things I love. And so this is what's going to set you apart in category to be in the category of one where you are seen as like, yep, I want to work with that bitch, right? Because like when you're just on lock this way, like people feel it. They feel it, and you feel so certain within yourself. So much of the wobbles in business comes from not being totally locked in, dialed in on all the areas that move the business forward. It's kind of like we're kind of like at a shaky level with like it's like being okay at all the things instead of like being excellent, and then really dialing in on certain areas to build excellence at certain times. And instead, people kind of just like do a little of everything okay, right? But that's not how we're going to get to seven-figure companies, multi-seven-figure companies. And quite frankly, in this current market, not how we're going to be doing six-figure, multiple six-figure ones either, depending on where you're starting now. But there's just always a new level for where you're going. So category of one starts end of June. Normally, this would be a 5K mastermind. You are fully bonused in completely for free when you join the Revolution. Right now, during the Feels Like Summer sale, you also are able to receive 333 off the Revolution. This is in addition to any credits you have. So if you're in the Secret Money membership or Enchanted Sales, Magnify, Manifest, Receive, am I forgetting anything? Anything you've bought in the past 30 days, that will apply to the Revolution. You're able to apply your credits. Fempire is my closest proximity mastermind. It is going to be 5 women. It's like, I would say 5 to 8. But that's kind of like, I've had a number of different sizes for it. But we're really doing deep business. So it's very hands-on. I would say Fempire is going to give, so the Revolution. Category of one is going to be 6 weeks, 6 hot seat coaching calls, and it's going to be a combination of me teaching and then doing hot seat coaching. And then in the Revolution, you have access to my full premium product suite. You're in the Secret Money membership. You have access to content that is not available for purchase elsewhere. And we do have 2 hot seat coaching calls a month. You will always get your questions answered. This is not one of these things where there's 200 people and like, when they say mastermind, they just mean you masterminding with each other. Like, no, I actually mentor you. You will always get your questions answered on every call. So do not worry about that. And the way that we run it as well is like, let's say you have a question and you can't be on the call, you can drop it on our thread and like I'll answer it. It's just, of course, if you're there for our hot seat coaching calls, then you can come off mic and we can go back and forth. So this is not one of these like membership masterminds where you just kind of like float around in the abyss. It is definitely a hands-on space with deep mentorship, outrageous mentorship, especially for the price point. And then Fempire is going to be my most intimate room. And that's going to feel more like, I would say, a mix of private coaching and masterminding because I keep it so intimate. And you have Telegram access to me Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. We also have 2 calls a month. And then you're going to get the Revolution and Secret Money. And yeah, you get it all. So Fempire is going to be for you if you are desiring to scale 20K to 100K months. You really want me like in your business on a very regular basis. You're in that like I'm ready to move season. Like let's just like hop to it. You want to have more, be able to have more regular, no matter whether it's like content review or like I'm thinking about doing this thing like this. I'm starting this new thing. What should I be thinking about? Does this sound like a good idea? Did this not, right? Like that more just like continuous approach and just me at your fingertips. And then the Revolution, you're going to be totally baking in all of the incredible programs that I have. And then of course there's the sisterhood. And then also we are going to have our 2 calls a month. So it's a 2 call a month touch point with me versus the Fempire is going to be more frequent. So right now during Feels Like Summer, you can receive $1,000 off when you join Fempire. For Fempire, you are also able to join on an extended payment plan. So if you want to take advantage of the sale, but you're like, okay, I'd like to spread my payments out more, you're absolutely able to do that. You would just start at a later date. And then for Fempire as well, if you have credits, coming from other spaces in my world, then you can also apply those. If you're in Secret Money, you guys actually get a 2x credit, which you'll get an email about or message me about if you haven't heard about it already. Is that how it works for Secret Money? Oh, no, sorry, X that. So it's 1,000 off for Fempire, but you can apply your other credits. So for example, if you're in Secret Money, if you're in Enchanted Sales, if you're in Magnify, Manifest, Receive, like whatever it is, you can, like I said, use it to join an extended payment plan. I do keep spaces for Fempire limited because I want to follow through on what I said with that like deep intimacy. And of course, that's the highest level access to me. So I highly recommend coming to join us. My DMs are open. If you have any questions, I'm going to drop the enrollment page for Fempire. It does not have the details for category of one on it on the enrollment page because it just make it so long, but I just explained it to you. And so it is a high touch, high potency room. And our focus is going to be building your potency, your feminine business smarts, and they're doing the heavy lifting for you so you can increase your income and do it in a relaxed way, which is always what we want to have happening. And really build your business, build yourself to be the only one your luxury clients see, because that is what's going to make you happy in business. You don't want to feel like you're doggy paddling, needing to try so hard. Oh my God, what do I do next? What do I do next? Like, people are just so tired and don't even realize it. But the thing is, you love your work, you love being with clients, you love all of those things, but we need to build everything around that to be easier for you and your own potency and your magnetism, so people just come to you. Not because you're just like sitting in your room and like meditating on $1,000,000, but everything that you are doing is like incredibly potent. So come join us. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. Also, a reminder, if you're like, hey, I just want to see what it's like to be mentored by you first, I want to get a taste, join the Secret Money membership. You get your first 7 days free, but the Feels Like Summer sale with this 333. Oh, and make sure too, if you're new, if you don't have any credits and you're joining the revolution, the code at checkout is summer333. So we will have put the link for that in episode notes. I'll pop Enchanted Sales in there as well. If you are not in Enchanted Sales yet, just take my word for it and join, because it's going to really teach you so much of the mastery on all things sales related. They're just so important for organic marketing. If you ever want to do paid and take your skill set to that level, then Enchanted Sales is a place to join. You could never do paid marketing, but you will have the skill set of someone who's very good at it. And that's what you want to have. So I'm just obsessed with that program. It's like, it was such a long time coming, and I just keep adding to it. There's just so much changing and so much happening. So I'm going to put the link for Enchanted Sales in there in as well. And you're also still able to join at 50% off. And for Fempire does not have an enrollment page, so just shoot me a DM and we can chat about being the best fit for you. But please come join. You are going to be very happy. My clients are they're just doing so well. And I just love to see it, like signing 30K clients, filling masterminds for the first time. We're building out new freebies, new low ticket offers, selling into mid ticket offers. We're seeing email sequences work. We're seeing freebies converting. Most people's freebies like take months to convert. We're talking about instant conversions, like just everything moving, more potent content, better positioning, people just coming out of the woodwork to buy, working less, making more money. Like, this is just what we do in my world. So if that sounds like yum, choose your place you want to come play. The Revolution, like I said, you're going to be bonus in a category of 1 completely free, and then past category of 1, we will have twice a month hot seat coaching call. You'll always get your questions answered. You have the full premium product suite. If you want like the closest access, come join us inside Fempire. And so I love you so much. I hope you enjoyed today's episode.